Welcome back to A to Z here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Final segment. It's free on YouTube. Wherever you get your podcast, you search Locked On Sports Atlanta. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. Appreciate making A to Z part of your everyday sports listen. Before we get to the Bulldogs, they get set to take on Oregon and what could go wrong this year. Now time for a shovel of wisdom.
Brace yourselves, because it's time for the shovel of wisdom.
Of course, every day we have to hit somebody right upside the head with a shovel of wisdom, set them straight for doing or saying something stupid. You can do so as well on my Twitter account at Mark Zinno. Just use the hashtag shovel of wisdom. And today my shovel goes to Matthew Carlisle. Matthew Carlisle is, I guess, a patron of an LA Fitness gym right here in Marietta. In fact, I know exactly where this gym is on Terrell Mill. And I've actually worked out at that gym before for a short time. For the record, not a big LA Fitness fan. It's a weird place to work out, bro. I mean, it's just not like people are not really. It's more like a social hour than actually working out. But I'm still a meathead, so that's a whole different conversation. Anyway, last week Matthew Carlisle snuck into the women's locker room shortly before closing. Matthew is obviously not a woman. And he jumped in the shower and grabbed a woman showering naked and basically assaulted her. The woman pushed him off, causing him to trip and fall down, and she ran away yelling for help. Carlisle was arrested at the scene, obviously, after getting a description, and he was charged with, get this, felony count of peeping Tom, disorderly conduct, and sexual battery. Yeah. Well, by the way, I didn't really know that peeping Tom was an actual crime. Interesting to note that it is. But, yeah, don't do this, you weirdo maniac. I guess if you're working in the gym, you're not really paying attention to stuff like that. But, yeah, and it was closing time, and everyone's trying to get out of there and blah, blah, blah. Just insanely stupid stuff. Hey, dude, and there's a lot of other ways to handle your business than running into the women's locker room. That's all I'll say, and leave it at that before I get myself in trouble. Okay, all right, let's get to the Georgia Bulldogs and a season preview real quick from Chip Towers, who covers the Dogs, one of the best in the biz. And, he kind of just goes up and down the list of things that could go right and could go wrong for the Georgia Bulldogs. And I think he hits on some really fine points here. I just want to kind of go over with you about one Stetson Bennett. Can Stetson Bennett duplicate, and these are my words, not his, but I'm asking the question, can Stetson Bennett duplicate what he did last year and build on it and be even better? Because at the end of the day, Stetson's not going to have the luxury of an all-world, all-time defense working for him. Defense is going to be pretty good, still going to be good, but he's not going to have the ability to only have to score 17 points in a game to win. There are going to be times he's going to need to be able to put the team on his back for a stretch maybe and go out and win a game. Now, look, Georgia has a very easy schedule this year. So he's not going to be tested all that much, and he's not going to struggle all that much with the opponents that he's facing. But still, he's going to need high-level quarterback play throughout the year. And barring an injury, the other thing that he needs, and Chip Towers does point this out, he kind of is a gunslinger, and he takes a lot of chances with the football that probably don't always please the coaching staff. And from that standpoint, some of those mistakes could come back to haunt you. They didn't last year. They obviously were a team that defensively allowed those mistakes to happen and didn't have any, hiccups with it. All that aside, Stetson probably has to be a better version of himself this year. And that's a lot of the reason why Georgia continues to get overlooked, because they don't have high-level quarterback play. Not an insult on Stetson. It's just not. Simply put, he's not a high-level quarterback in college. He's a good quarterback. He's a sound quarterback, but he's not ever going to be the focal point of anybody's offense. It's that simple. Defense coordinators don't worry about Stetson Bennett. They worry about Brock Bowers. They're going to worry about Kenny Milton and Kenny McIntosh and all those guys. Kendall Milton, Kenny McIntosh. Got to get it right. Speaking of those two, how are they going to perform? That's another thing Chip Towers says. How are they going to perform And that's a fair question. You know, Georgia has always had a staple of running backs that once one leaves, they reload and are able to push through. No reason to believe these guys won't. No reason to believe at all that this running back group would struggle in any size, way, shape, or form to be able to carry the load. And here's the thing: if they do, then it falls back on Bennett, and that really is one of those things where it could be very, very tough overall offensively. I know everybody feels 100% different about the offense and how sound it is and how it was last year, but things have changed. There is a little bit of turnover, and this team, well, philosophically, I don't think will look too much different. Offensively, they might not have the crispness that they've had in years past. I think, again, that is fair. What do we say about the defense? Well, they've lost a ton, obviously, to the NFL. Will they be as good as last year? Probably not. Will they still be a top 15, top 20 defense in America? Yeah, they probably will. There's no reason to believe that they won't. They have, as good as they've recruited, there's no reason to believe that this defense won't be one of the top in the SEC and one of the top in the country. So I think that's fair. The receiving core. Now, we're not talking about Brock Bowers because we know what he is, but let's look to the outside because you can't just throw the ball to Bowers nonstop, and Eric Gilbert for that matter. You've got to be able to work the outside. So they're going to miss George Pickens, who, by the way, might be an offensive rookie of the year in the NFL. But, you know, it's one of those things where you look at this receiver core and wonder how much they can help Bennett execute the offense. And if they do, if they can, well, then guess what? You have a very good, well-rounded offense. And I think that is something that they haven't had in a long time. They've been very running back focused, obviously. You have a quarterback, again, who doesn't take a ton of shots, or at least initially early on last year, didn't take a ton of shots down the field. I think that opened up. I think it was fair to say that it opened up, and it did open up. But this Georgia team this year, if they can be more well-rounded on offense, if they can find ways to work the outside of the field as much as the middle of the field in the passing game, they're going to be really tough to beat. And I think that is something that everybody desires, and everybody offensively. I mean, you know, Todd Monk and everybody, they desire to be able to work the outside of the field as much as they do the middle of the field and the running game. So overall, this is supposed to be very much a a team that exudes balance. I think that's something that Kirby Smart and Todd Monk are looking for. Now, as I said again, I'll give you a little bit deeper breakdown tomorrow. Georgia's going to win against Oregon. I think Oregon's going to cover. There's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of history for that. So I'll get more into that tomorrow. But Georgia's got after Oregon, they got a nice soft landing spot. And it's just a question of how quickly this team can get into like mid-season mode and start to destroy opponents the way they did last year. But the schedule's favorable, and there's no reason to believe that they shouldn't at least be playing for the SEC title at the very, very bare minimum when it's all said and done. All right, that'll do it for us here today on A to Z on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Again, give me a follow on Twitter at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Back tomorrow for a Friday edition. Get you kicked off for the Labor Day weekend. That's next. Make sure you listen to Hitting Hard John Chuckery and ATL Day One's Jarvis Davis and Tanisha Batiste. You guys have a great day. Don't take any crap from anybody. See you.